Hello everyone, my name is Mallory Johnson. I'm here from Design That Matters. We are a nonprofit based in Salem, Massachusetts, dedicated to solving problems for and with the poor in developing countries. So today we're presenting Otter, which is a conductive warming bassinet made specifically for rural hospitals to treat and care for low birth weight and premature newborns who are especially vulnerable to hypothermia, mostly in cases where kangaroo mother care is not possible. Complications with prematurity takes about 2.7 million newborn lives every year in the developing world. And it turns out that about 3/4 of those lives could be saved if we could just design a better way for them to grow in a clean and warm environment. So we decided as a company that this was the ideal next step for innovation. So as we dove into the landscape for newborn warming, there's about 3 basic types. You have convective, radiant, and conductive warming. So convection, typically an incubator, they're standard issue in the developing and Western markets. But when you take it out of that context, they become very expensive to operate and use. They break down very easily, and they don't have the resources to keep them up. So on a good day, hospitals will usually have maybe 1 or 2 working, and they're usually saved for the most severe cases, the most severe babies, which leaves this huge percentage of like 80% of babies that have mild but still serious conditions that just have to make do. So then there's radiant warming. So think hot dog stand at a gas station. It seems like a good idea, and it is effective, and you do have full access to the baby at all times, but the consequences of misuse can be very severe and even life-threatening. There's many touch points around the mechanical places for it to fail, and even in Western affluent hospitals where there's constant monitoring around the babies, if the skin probe falls off, babies are known to develop hypothermia, even in places where it's not overcrowded and there's lots of attention. So then lastly, there's conduction, and it's the most simplified version of this is kangaroo mother care, so a baby against the mother's skin. And this is widely known in any context to be the most effective way to warm a newborn. Number 1, it's free. Number 2, it's mentally healthy for both the baby and the mom. But unfortunately, there's a lot of cases where this just isn't possible. So if the mother's infectious with something, or if the baby has any other ailments, like jaundice, for example, which for context affects 2/3 of newborns worldwide and 80% of premature newborns. So we're not just obsessed with this disease as a company. There's a huge market of babies that need access to both heat and phototherapy. So we as designers started out with the problem of how can we make a bassinet to supplement kangaroo mother care and adapt for phototherapy at the same time. And what we've come up with, it's been about 2 years of iteration through lots of series of student teams and volunteers. And we think we believe that we've come up with the perfect solution to balance the most context-appropriate features for newborn warming and eliminate as much of the common sources of human and electrical error as possible. As you can see, there's no settings on this. There's an on-off switch, which reduces the reliance on staff training. It's electronically robust enough to survive the regular power surges that happen, and it doesn't rely on consumable parts, which means that it can work for 5 years of constant use, even in the most resource-poor of settings. So the way it works, it's a double-walled bassinet with an air pocket in the bottom, and there's a heating element made of nichrome wires which heat that air pocket, and so that naturally regulates the surface temperature that the baby touches within the bassinet. So a thermocouple in the front regulates that temperature, so it's not based on a skin probe at all, which means that it's the most robust way to safely warm a baby. Otter is designed to fit into Firefly, but it's also designed to be used independently with any phototherapy device. And the benefits of this are that it can bring some of the best context-appropriate features to every phototherapy device. So for example, cleaning. The realities of these hospitals are that if it's too complicated to clean, it doesn't get cleaned. So Otter has a completely seamless interior. It can be wiped clean with alcohol in a matter of seconds. Infant isolation. So in overcrowded facilities where hospital-acquired infection is a very common issue, the fact that this bassinet only physically fits 1 baby at a time becomes a very big selling point to doctors and mothers. And lastly, it adds warming to every phototherapy device. In the absence of an incubator, no mother should ever have to choose between risking hypothermia or jaundice for her baby. And with Otter, she won't have to. Depending on the speed at which we develop the right partnerships and funding, we'll be ready to bring Otter to the market in about 1.5 years. And that's why I'm so excited to be here and meet you guys and develop this further. So thank you so much. I welcome your questions.